Well, good evening, guys, and welcome to our Thursday evening new agent training. This training is intended, of course, for all of our new agents, but for all of our porterhouse agents who would like to dive deeper and get a greater perception of how to manage your overall real estate business. This month, we've been talking about listings, and tonight is going to be no different. We have our very own Anita Bowie with us. She's going to be sharing about listings this evening from the perspective of contract presentation. We had Angela to share with us for a couple of weeks, and she's done such a tremendous job with the listing. So you're marketing for listings, you're managing your transactions, and the process of getting those listing transactions closed. But now Anita is going to teach us what we do when we're in this listing transaction and in the midst of this COVID market, when we start to receive all of those offers, how we manage those in the presentation aspect to our sellers and help them to come up with the best offer that'll get to settlement most quickly. So welcome, Anita. Welcome to you. I'm going to go ahead and begin. Well, I will go ahead and let you take over for now.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Porter. I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to share this evening with everyone. And just as Ms. Porter had mentioned, Angela did an excellent job going over the actual securing the listing, the marketing piece, and kind of what the process looks like from beginning to end. And so what I'm going to focus on today is you have the listing, it went well, you marketed it at a price that was very attractive to multiple buyers. So you ended up with multiple offers. And so that's where we're going to pick it up today. And one thing that I just kind of wanted to mention is the way that Porterhouse has it set up in Brokermint is that if you receive all of your offers in one central location. And so if you provide in the remarks this link, then you don't have to worry about missing an offer or someone sending you an offer to your email, or if they do, just redirect them to the link in the remarks so that they can send all the offers to one location so that you don't miss anything. So with that being said, so we're excited, because everything went so well. We did such a wonderful listing presentation, and then we showed our property and we got our offers in. And so now what do we do with those offers that we have? We had multiple offers. I had one time a house that I listed that I am not joking when I tell you, and it was only over a matter of about a week, and 23 offers. And that is like such a task to go through 23 offers to present, because you have to present everything to the sellers, no matter how unreasonable you may think it is. You don't know what the seller's needs are. And so it is your responsibility to make sure that you go through everything with the sellers. And so with that, once you've received your offers, and the bottom line is that the sellers are the ones who make the decision as to which offer they're going to accept. You are just making sure that you provide them with all of the information that they need to be able to make the decision that's best for them. Okay, so with that being said, we have in Brokermint, as a part of your seller's package, there is a form that's called Multiple Offers Contract Presentation Template. And that's where you transpose all the information that you received from those offers onto this template, okay? So at the top, obviously, is your property address that you have your offers from. Then you because what happens is sometimes I like this template. And the reason I like this template is because oftentimes sellers will look at who has offered the most money, but it's more to it than who's offered the most money, because you can offer the most money, but if you are then on the back end taking off the most money, then that may not necessarily be the best offer for the seller. It could have everything to do with what type of financing that the prospective buyer has. It can have it could also, one of the determining factors could be that maybe the person is needing some type of closing help. Maybe they need an extended, maybe they have a house that they need to sell. And then that is one of the contingencies. It depends on what the contingencies are. And in the way that the market has been, sellers have been able to really not have to necessarily entertain so much if they didn't want to offers with contingencies, because they were able to get offers that were above list price and that really just got rid of all of their contingencies. Something else that you might want to also maybe present to your seller is if you have multiple offers in and you have agreed upon a deadline with your sellers, you may want to reach out to those previous offers that you've received and tell them that let them know that you do have multiple offers and that you are looking for their highest and best offer by whatever the deadline is that you guys have predetermined. Also, you could put that in the MLS in your remarks as well, so that perhaps maybe you received an offer from someone, and so now they know that there are multiple offers in hand, and they may want to go back to their buyer and say, okay, is there anything that you want to change about your offer? Okay. So also too, let me just say this, please, if you have any questions, please ask questions, okay? So again, this is what our template looks like, okay? And as I said, this is the property address, okay? All of the things that are included as part of your presentation are here in this template. So the purchase price, the settlement date, financing type, the earnest money deposit amount, the proof of funds, the seller concessions, the transfer and recordation split, the contingencies, inspection period, appraisal period, financing contingency period, the is there a home that needs to be sold in order to purchase this new home? Are they asking for a home warranty? Are there any special conditions? Is there a lender required repairs that they're asking for? And then we get down to really what is the bottom line as far as what the net would be that the seller could be looking at, well, minus the commissions and their additional fees that they would have to pay for their portion of, their side of selling the home. So what I do is I find out from my sellers before we even get any offers in. I say, okay, this is when we're going to put the house on the market. We're going to have it available for this period of time. We're going to be accepting offers until this date. And once we receive the offers, would you like to see the full offer, meaning the offer that the buyer agent has sent to me, or would you just prefer to see the the presentation template. And my experience so far overall has been most times they don't want to have to look through all of those those sheets of papers and try and identify, what information is important to them and what isn't. And so that's another reason why I really like this template, because this template here is just everything that is a part of that offer, and it is transposed onto the template for you, or actually you put that onto the template for your sellers. Okay, so we first go through, and obviously for each offer, we identify who the buyers are, who the agent is, what they have as proposed settlement date, because that can matter to your sellers as far as what are we looking at as a settlement date, because if they undoubtedly have plans of their own, whether that is to purchase another home, whether they're going to be transitioning out of the area, whether they are going to be maybe just deciding they're an older couple and they maybe decided that they're going to go and move in with their children or whatever it is, that matters to them. Okay. And then try to, this helps your sellers to see that it is more than just about what the purchase price is. Okay. So the first thing that we identify is the purchase price. All of this information you are getting off of the contract of sale. All of this information you're getting off of your contract of sale. If there's something that is missing on the contract of sale that maybe the buyer's agent has not provided to you, you can reach out to them and ask them to send over that information. I really usually don't put anything on this template that is not in writing on the contract offer, because I don't want it to be that, maybe someone meant to put a deposit, EMD amount, and they didn't. And I reach out to them and, say, hey, I noticed that you did not put an EMD in your offer. Is that something that your buyer is going to be part of their offer? And a lot of times, and it may very well be the case, they'll say, oh, yes, I just missed that, but it's just a lot easier and cleaner, especially if you are trying to really consider their offer. It's easier and cleaner to have them to just go ahead and send that over to me, and so that I can add it to your offer, so that you'll have complete offers to present to your sellers, because you don't want your sellers to be making a decision about an offer that's incomplete and that could potentially not give them what it is that they expected to receive from the sale of their house. Okay, so we go with our settlement date. We always promote velocity title, so we always include that addendum that the buyers can or maybe choose not to. It is their choice to either go with our title company. Of course, we work well with them, and they do an excellent job for us all the time. So we always try and go with velocity title. We identify what type of the loan this is. We identify what is the amount of the deposit that that the buyer is offering. If there were a cash buyer, have they showed proof of funds or if it is a pre-approval, then you know, what type of do they have a pre-approval in hand? Okay. Seller's concessions. So how much is this buyer asking the seller to give them towards the closing of this property? Buyers sometimes will ask for the seller to give them some type of help, and sometimes not so much. And then the next thing is the transfer and recordation split. And now the way that the contract reads is just understood that it's a 50-50 split, that the buyer pays all their transfer and recordation taxes to have the house transferred in their name, and the seller pays all their transfer and recordation fees to have it taken out of their name. If it were something other than that, then that would need to be added to the contract, and you would need to indicate that on your template. Okay. So also, are there any contingencies? So for instance, this buyer here, they said, well, you know, our offer is good until 5:30 on 8/19. Okay. And then after that point, our offer is no longer standing. Okay. And then for the inspection contingencies, are they looking for, what type of inspection contingency, if any, are they looking for? You need to add that to the template. Maybe they say that it's as is, and they're giving them the number of days that they anticipate being able to have the inspection done. Maybe they're saying they don't want any inspection. All of that information needs to be added to the template. And then how much time is it going to take for your appraisal, the appraisal period? How much time for the financing period? How much time for, or I apologize, do they have a home to sell? Home warranty, are they asking for a home warranty? This buyer, for instance, said, yes, we need a home warranty. Okay. And sometimes say for instance, this person is saying, we don't, it's as is, we're not even looking for an inspection. But on the other hand, since we're not looking, this could be their thought. Since we're not looking for an inspection, we would like for you to give us $648 worth towards a home warranty. Okay. And then also any other special conditions. So this buyer here, they said that they put the addendum in there that said that basically they could terminate the their offer, or they could withdraw their offer for any reason upon the after the inspection, for any reason whatsoever, and that, you know, then they would not be in any way bound or obligated to move forward, and would not be in jeopardy of losing their deposit either. So what we do is then, once we have that, and for this particular offer, for this particular property, we had 5 offers. So I went through and I put all of the information in for each one of these buyers, for these potential buyers, right? And what we do is, in the end, we get to what is the seller's net estimate. And with the seller's net estimate, that kind of really gives the sellers an idea of what it is that they're really going to gain as far as monetary is concerned. Again, that may not be all of their concern, what they're going to gain monetarily, because that, you know, what may be a big concern for them is well, how much time am I going to be able to wait until we close? Maybe instead of 30 days, I really need 45 days. So I will forego maybe a larger offer amount because I need a little bit of extra time. Or maybe I've had also too, in the recent past, I had two sellers rather, that they needed rent back. And so we were actually trying to get free rent back. That was more important to them than maybe not getting just the highest amount, because these one person in particular was really concerned about being homeless. You know, I just need to have this rent back period of time, you know. So that was something that was of great concern to the seller. So that weighed very heavily as far as, you know, what offer that they were going to accept. So you look at, anyone have any questions at this point? No? Okay, I'll keep going. So you look at, to get to our net amount, we look at our purchase price. And just for instance, this Frank F. Shirmo. I apologize if I'm saying their name incorrectly, but I think that's Shirmo. They offered $250,000. Okay. And of that 200, in addition to that $250,000, they offered a deposit amount of $5,000. But then what they asked for, so the 250,000 plus the 5,000 increased their amount. Now, all of this is going towards the purchase of the home. But what they did was then they asked, well, you know what, we really need the seller to help us with our closing costs. So they asked for 3% seller closing help. Okay, so that decreases your net total by 3%. Okay, and then they didn't ask for anything else. They didn't ask for a home warranty or anything. So although their offer amount, the purchase price amount was $250, really the seller's net amount was $242,500. Okay, so this is the kind of things that the sellers, they are interested in seeing, because, you know, they just see a big number, but then really, what does that break down to be? You know, what does that really mean? You know, and so that's why it seems to be just a point of clarity, so that they can see this broken down in a very simple way that they can understand, versus having to go from, you know, one page to the next page to the next page, you know. And then so looking at Shirley Patterson as the buyer, she her offer amount was $285. And so now that was the original amount that she offered. And they said they were going to increase the offer, but we had not received it in writing. And so I put the amount that they had on the original contract of sale. They said that they were going to give a deposit amount of $2,850. Okay, that's just about 1%. And then they didn't say that they needed an inspection, which is great, you know, because the more contingencies that you can get rid of, then the better that you have, you know, the cleaner the offer is. And then so they also asked for the seller to pay, though, the $648 for the home warranty. So this seller can, from this offer, depending upon, what it really was, they could net anywhere from 270,000 to 285,000. Something else that I always do, if there are if there's an offer, or maybe there's a couple offers that my sellers are really kind of looking at and trying to decide, which one kind of works for them. Another step that I take before, maybe I'll let them know, I said, you know what, let me just reach out to their lender. Let me talk to their lender and let's see where they are in the process. Let's see how confident the lender is that we're able to get this transaction to closing. And that's helpful a lot of times also, to be able to reach out to the lender and say, hey, your client so-and-so submitted an offer, and we're considering the offer. And they'll just start talking, they'll just start giving you information a lot of times. Okay. So that's helpful too. And then so here are the other offers, and I won't go through all of them, but I will say for this one here, for the Dylan Watkins and Jocelyn Martinez, they actually offered $250,000. They said that they would put down $3,600 for an earnest money deposit. And they said, though, that they have an escalation up to $286,000 in one, I put this wrong, but it should be $1,000 increments, okay? So they're saying that they will increase their offer by $1,000 above any other offers that we're considering, until it gets to $286,000. That's what they're saying, okay? And so this was another, I see this was one of my clients that said, I kind of think I'm going to need some rent back, and they ended up not needing rent back. But they said that, they're willing to do a rent back, but it would be $1,000 deposit, and then the rent back amount is determined by whatever their mortgage amount is. The title company usually takes care of that. So their offer was $250,000. And so that would have given them, because they did not ask for, plus they have the $3,600 in the earnest money deposit, but they didn't ask for any closing help. So that gave them a net estimate of $251,000 for the purchase of that property. And so that's what you do. You go through each one, and it's fairly, self-explanatory as far as what what you add to this template. And so again, it just helps your sellers to just know the details of each offer. So when the seller, and a lot of times they'll ask your opinion. And so I don't necessarily, I will point out to I really put it back in their court as far as making the decision for themselves as to what offer is best for them. I don't want to make that's a big decision, and I don't want to make a big decision like that for them. I just try to show them what each offer entails, find out from them. You need to know from them what things are important to them so that you can maybe then point those things out to them, say, okay, well, if you need rent back time, this buyer is willing to give you rent back, and then allow them to make the decision that best fits them. Okay. So I think that is about it. And again, it's just the seller that, makes the final decision. You just are able to facilitate in a way that just allows them to see a clear picture of what the offers really are. Okay. So is there any questions that anyone? Oh, Christina raised her hand. Christina or Kristen. I'm sorry, Kristen.
All right, no offense at all. How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you, sir?
Good. Thank you so much for the presentation. It's very complex and extremely comprehensive. Just a question and an observation.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, during your presentation, you say you ask the client if they prefer to see this checklist or the entire offer. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Now my question is, don't you think you may be opening up yourself to a lot of questions in case this thing goes into some legal complications where the client will come up and say, you know what, all I saw was the checklist, I didn't see the entire offer. Don't you think that in that case, it may make it a little bit complicated?
Well, you know what, I had not thought about that, but that is a possibility. I know that, like, for instance, with this situation here, this was a daughter and who owned the property, but her husband, I'm sorry, not her husband, her dad, she leaned on him a lot. And so I did initially, I said to both of them, I said, hey, and he's like a real businessman. He's like, no, I don't want all that paper, And so I said, hey, are you all, do you guys all want me to, because I can send you all of the offers over, or I can just share with you the template, They were like, yeah, no, we don't want to see all of that. We just want the template, And I had the other one with the 23 offers. I was like, hey, I can send all the offers, because it becomes I understand what you're saying. And I guess maybe I need to maybe get some feedback from someone else as far as, perhaps that may not be the best approach. But I know that I've, offered to send all those offers over, and they're like, no, we don't want all of that. Obviously, once they do select, or if they have gotten down to the place where, you know what, I'm kind of thinking about this one and this one, then, you can send them those offers, and you're going to have to, at that point, send them those offers to look at, but they don't necessarily, what my experience has been, when you get a seller and you have multiple offers like that, it does become a bit confusing for them to, number one, either they have to print out all of those papers to go through them, or number two, they have to, go through it on their laptop, and so, or their whatever device that they have, and they forget from one offer to the next what was included in that offer anyway. So I don't know, what does anyone else have an opinion on that?
I would think not, because Well, if they ask for it, yes. But at the end of the day, they're gonna, what they want to know is basically their net amount. And all of the things that we transcribe onto this template, to me, is the meat and potatoes of what's inside of the actual offer. So them going through each document, to me, is not even necessary, because what they want to know is going to be transcribed on this, on the template. And and if they want it, yes, but it's not something that I would necessarily, give as an option, because that's just, because at the end of the day, we're talking about time. We want to get back with people in a timely fashion. Like you had the one that said, by August the 19th. Okay, so that's time. So this is, this saves time. So I would think not. That's my take on it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I've gotten instructions though that we are to send them all of the offers. They need to have that as their records.
We send, you send, but are you sending all the offers for them to go through them? Or are you sending them the breakdown, but they also get a copy of it? Not, because when you're trying to determine which offer to accept, are we going through all of them? It's no, yes, you send it to them, but you're just basically giving them the breakdown of what you're sending them versus them going through each one. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I understand what you're saying.
I think the Fair Housing Act, I think we need to look at it closely, individually, because remember, all these things have serious legal implications, and you just want to close a deal a year, 2, 3 years after somebody is coming after you. And when they go to court and just say, all you showed me, all I received from you during this process is a checklist. Think about how a judge is going to look at it. It will look like you're hiding something. I mean, that is my own opinion, but read the Fair Housing Act.
No, Christian, I'm not saying not to give it to them. What I'm saying is when you're presenting the offers, you're just using that. You still have to send them over the offers. I'm talking in terms of being able to explain it and actually just get to the meat and potatoes of it. They still get a chance to go through it, but you're just giving it to them right then. I'm not saying, oh no, we hold on to the paper. You have to give them paperwork. They have to get a copy of it. Everybody has to get a copy of a ratified an offer, but even and the ratified contract. So I'm not saying not to give it to them. What I am saying is just to kind of make it seamless versus it being complicated.
So what I'm understanding is that we are to send all the offers over to the seller, and we can go from however the information can be presented from the template that we have in Brokermint. Okay, and then they still make a decision just based on that. And I mean, they probably won't even look through all of those papers anyway, but those pages anyway, because it's just a lot. Angela, did you have something? That's what I'm understanding, is that we're required and we're responsible for sending them everything, but we can give our presentation from the template.
Before I step on, please, one more thing I want to ask regarding the presentation, right? You mentioned after you break down at the end, you spoke about the net that the seller expects to get. And I will assume that net is based on probably after you remove the 6%, something like that for commission for both the buyer and the seller, and probably whatever you think may come out from your own end. So do you also think about asking them, assuming you have a mortgage, is there any lien still on this mortgage? Do you still have a balance? Because you don't want a client at the end to say, okay, The agent told me I'm gonna get 250,000. Then the title company will come and send their disclosure showing that, you know, what you're getting is actually 50,000 because 200,000 is going back to your mortgage company. Do you make them understand if there is any money, any lien that will be discovered by the title company, that the title company will have to deduct that money and settle whatever is outstanding before the closing?
Right. So that part I think is done at the beginning when you're first doing your listing presentation. You're collecting that information from the seller to begin with, so that you can give them that preliminary, that estimated seller net sheet. Obviously, you know, that is not even a final net sheet because you don't know at that point what the sales price is going to be. You don't know if you are or are not going to be given any type of concessions. So you do that part up front, but so this template is strictly based on the offers that you receive. It does not include any of the commissions, any of their fees that they are responsible for, you know, transferring the property out of their name. It doesn't include, well, I think I said commissions. It does not include any of those things. So it is good for you to make that clear to the seller when you are presenting them with that presentation, that these things are not included in this presentation, but this is strictly based on the contracts that we received. Thank you. Angela?
I think you cleared it up. I think the purpose of that sheet is it's basically an offer summary. Like Anita said, it breaks down every part of the offer. And if there is a line item at the end that says seller's net, it's basically the summary of the offer. So whatever that offer amount is, minus anything else that's being deducted, that's the seller's expense. It's pretty much given the seller a clearer picture of basically how much they're actually offering for the property. So it's not in actuality the seller's net, but it is in fact a summary of their offer. And then it gives you basically, you know, it gives you the amount of their offer minus all those deductions. So you're right. In the beginning, we do a seller's net during the presentation. And that's where we factor in all of the fees and, you know, that they would incur. Typically what I'll do is, I have done a seller's net based on what we list the property for. And then let's say the property goes on the market 2 weeks later. We have adjusted that price prior to putting it on the market. And then I'll do another seller's net. But they know that if it sells for 20,000 more, or if it sells for 30,000 more, obviously the net will adjust. But for the sake of this document, it's completely different than what we actually present as a seller's net when we do that in the beginning.
Right. Right. Thank you, Angela. Okay. Any other questions or anything that anyone else has to share?
I actually do regarding, you know, presenting the offers. I use the summary myself. I do, like you, I offer, do they want to review the contract? And I can say of all my listings, I've only had one person who said, I want to see every document, every page. It was an attorney. He wanted everything. And that's the only time I've had someone say that they want them. But, and Jasmine can correct me on this, but I typically use the summary sheet. I give them the option. 99% of them will say, I want to use the summary. After that's all done and I present with the summary, then I send them everything. I tell them you don't have to even open it, but I do send them everything. But I use that template to present. And then after they made the decision based on, I mean, they've hired us to work for them, and I've put that together for them to make things simpler. Okay. Then I'll send them everything after they've made a decision. Not so much after we've even reached out to tell the person, but after the presentation, they can have everything. They never go through it, but I've done my part.
Right. Exactly. So that has been my experience too. They don't, because they don't want all of that stuff, I guess. And it is our responsibility to provide it to them. And so once you sit, as long as you provide it, you cannot, force a person to, to actually go through it, as long as you've provided it to them, and they're basing their decision, on the information that they've been given, whether or not they go in and they pick that information out from each contract themselves, or they receive it by way of this template. I think that's really all we can do, is just, we can give it to them. We need to give it to them, but that's really all that we can do. That's all we can do. And so, does anyone else have any additional questions?
I have a comment for you, Anita. You're doing such a phenomenal job. You all are. Great questions, great contributions. I wanted to reiterate something that I heard you say earlier in the training. Anita said that in the beginning, she will ask her sellers if they would like to have an offer deadline date. And when they establish that offer deadline date, they receive all of the offers no matter what. And for the sake of the contract presentation, that's when this template is used, and the seller can decide whether they want to have contract presentation just from this abridged version of the contract template or from the offer documents in and of themselves. So she's reiterated a couple times. I just want to make sure that everybody is perfectly clear that those offers are sent by whatever that offer deadline is, like Anita said, that you talk to the seller about. And then for their convenience, they say, okay, well, for the presentation, okay, I want the 1-pager or the 52-pager. But your seller gets to decide there, and they have all the information that they need.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Porter. And so if there is nothing else, if there's no more questions, I will, I'll turn it back over to you, Ms. Porter.
All right. Well, Anita, if you would share the screen that you have back, we are going to do somewhat of an activity because you did such a great job going through that contract template presentation. I want you to share it. And for everybody that's on the line, I want you to take a look at these considerations on each one of the pages and tell, if you were the seller, which one of these offers would you choose? I want you to drop your selection in the chat. Anita has, it looks to be, were there 5 of them, Anita?
Correct.
Okay, so there are 5 offers and they each have various considerations. Like she went over, the purchase price is different. The EMD amount is different. The seller concessions, whether they're paying transfer and recordation taxes that are split, whether there are additional contingencies, the buyer's right to terminate, the net just solely based on the competition of these offers. All of these things are considerations to be made. So for the next maybe 15 minutes or so, you guys are going to put on the seller's hat and you're going to look at these offers that Anita has received, and you're going to determine which one of these you would choose as the seller. Okay. And what I want to hear your considerations surrounding this. And your considerations, of course, this is going to help you both on the buyer side of the transaction as well as the listing side of the transaction. Because when you're representing the purchaser, you're going to be the one putting together these offers for your buyer. So you got to be able to, articulate those to your seller and let them know what the pros and cons are of each one of those. Anita mentioned, even like loan type, whether somebody is cash with, no contingencies versus, a loan type that may need 60 days to close or something like that. So those are considerations. So let's talk about some of these. What are your guys's, Anita, if you would start at the first page there?
This is the first page.
Perfect.
Yeah. So do you want me to just quickly go through each of them as far
Yes.
as the details, and then so everybody will know, because
Yes.
can't show all 5 of them at one time.
Yes,
Okay,
so go through
we'll
them.
just,
And when you guys have a
Okay.
favorite, drop it in the chat.
okay, and so I'm just gonna call them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 so that I don't mess all these people's names up. Okay, so number 1 is a purchase price of $250,000. They said that they would use Velocity Title and that they would close on a close date of August 27th. So just so you know, this offer was, all the offers were submitted in July, mid-July. So this is a conventional loan. They have a $5,000 to EMD. They have, I put NA here, but they were pre-approved. I put NA for no proof of funds. They're asking 3% seller closing help. They said that they will do a 50-50 split. And they're willing to wire that in. The offer is void at 5:30 on 8/19. They say that it is as is offer with the 7 days for inspection, 21 days for the appraisal contingency, 5 days to get the apply for the financing, and 30 days to get it approved. They don't have a home to sell. There is no home warranty that they're asking for. They do have that general right to terminate, for whatever reason, which gives them a seller net estimate of $242,500. Okay. Offer number 2 is saying that they will go up to $285,000, that they can close on the 13th of August. This is another conventional loan. They have submitted, or they are willing to give $2,850 in EMD. They're not asking the seller to give them any closing help. They're saying they will do a 50-50 split. They pay theirs and they want the seller to pay their portion. They said this is an as-is sale. They don't need an inspection. They said that they'll apply for, they're given 2 days for a appraisal contingency. That's 2 days, okay. That the financing will be applied for in 2 days, and they will have an approval within 20 days or have it secured within 20 days. They're asking for the seller to give $648 in for a home warranty. And if they were to keep the offer at the 270, which was the previous amount, not the 207, with the previous amount of the offer that they gave, the net would have been 270, but because they went up to 285, the final total estimate is 285. Then offer number 3 was 250,000 with a settlement date of 8/17/21, another conventional loan, an EMD of 3,000. There is a proof of funds. There's no proof of funds. There is no seller concession. They're not asking the seller for anything. You pay your transfer and recordation and I'll pay mine. They are saying it as is with a 6-day inspection period, the appraisal in 9 days. They're saying they'll have their financing applied for within 3 days and have it secured within 21 days. They say that they'll give a free rent back for up to 9/15, but they're looking for $1,000 deposit. And then they said that they want $300 in lender repair if necessary, which would give them a seller net overall of $249,700. Then number 4 is saying $250,000 is what their offer amount is. They're saying they can close on 8/19. This is another conventional loan. They said that they will give $3,600 in EMD money, that they're not looking for the seller to give them anything in closing help. They pay for their transfer and recordation and the seller pays for theirs. They're saying that they will give an escalation amount up to $286 with $1,000 increments. Is as is with 10 days to get their inspection. They're saying that the appraisal is within 9 days, that they'll have their financing that they are applied for in 3, and 25 to have it secured. They will give a rent back, but this is not a free rent back situation. That will be determined by the title company once they know what their mortgage is. And then $1,000 deposit, which gives them an overall net of $251. And then the last one is $250,000 with a close date of 8/19. This is a VA loan. They're giving a $500 EMD that they are asking the seller to give $5,000 back in seller closing help, a 50-50 split. There no contingencies. Well, there is an 8-day inspection period. There is also 5-day appraisal contingency. Financing is 3 and 27, and there's up to $100 settlement fees that they're asking the seller to give if necessary. And the lender required repairs will be $800, which will give them a seller net of $244,100. So those are all 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5.
Can you scroll
Darlene
back?
says she'll take 4.
Can you scroll back to that second page really quickly?
Sure. So tell me when to scroll down because it won't show the whole page. Okay, Angela said she'd take the 4th offer. Darlene said she'd take the 4th offer. So why would you take the 4th offer, can I ask?
Well, you want to go, Darlene?
You can go.
It looks like the prices are similar as far as, when you include the escalation, or it looks like they're both around 285, 286. But I think the benefit, if the seller needs a rent back, is that number 4 offers a rent back. That to me is pretty strong because I think the offers are very similar.
Right, okay. And again, it just depends on what the seller's needs are.
And I think, I know what I remember from an offer synopsis like this that I went through with Mrs. Porter last summer, that where I think there was already an offer in here of 285, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why I chose, one of the reasons why I chose number 4, because since it has an escalation clause in there, automatically this offer is now at the 286. So you got 286, and then the seller also gets the rent back.
Right. Okay.
So that's why I chose that one.
Yeah. Okay. And then I think Talita, I can't remember which one she said she would go with. I don't think it was 5. I mean 5 or 4 though. So
It just said number 2.
2. Okay. So I mean, again, it really just depends on what your seller's needs are, you know. So, and you can't assume that you know, well, you know what the seller has told you, has shared with you, but you can't assume that you know what their ultimate decision will be. That's why you have to share everything with them. You can't assume that, you know, even if it's, you know, like a close family member or whatever, it's not your job to, you know, to decide what is best for them, you know, because you may talk all the time and you may think, you know, but again, the decision is theirs to make. Okay. So is there anything else that anyone wants to share?
Talita mentioned the contingency periods for offer number 2. She said that's why she chose it, because it was clean in terms of the price, no seller concession, and had the shortest contingency period.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Porter, because I couldn't figure out how to go back and see her. Oh, there it is there now, I see. Thank you. So, okay. So I think that is it for me, Miss Porter.
Excellent job, Anita. Great training, guys. Did everybody get clarity and insight as to how to utilize this tool today? If you have clarity, give me a thumbs up, give me a clap, put a yes in the chat or something, but let me know that you guys understand how to use this contract presentation template. We had some very useful discussion on the line, and I think that was necessary so that you guys understand the ins and outs of what it is you're doing and why you're doing. So let's see, we have Anita has a thumbs up, Darlene has a thumbs up, Angela, I know your thumbs up. I don't see it just yet, but I know it's up. Let's see, Christian and Tony. Welcome, Tony. Christian has a thumbs up as well. Hello, Tony. How are you this evening?
I'm well. How's everyone else?
Doing well, thanks. Did you get a great kind of overview of how to utilize this template that Anita's been presenting this evening?
I did, and it was interesting to hear just everybody's take on why they would choose whatever offer. It was insightful. It gives me something to think about.
Excellent. Great job, Anita. We're going to go ahead and end the recording for this evening. If you guys have a few more questions, then we can hang out for a minute to answer those questions. Otherwise, we will go ahead and end for the evening and let you guys go. Darlene, I see you have a question. Is it something that's going to benefit the recording? If so, I'll leave it on.
I want to know which offer they selected.
There you go. Anita, which offer did the seller choose?
You know what? I don't even remember. I can go find out though. I don't even remember.
Yes, you can find out. I'll go ahead and end the recording for now, and you can provide that information to the group.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even remember.